Let me back up a little. I'm a guy in my early 30s, single. Not because I'm weird or ugly, but because life just got busy. Work, friends, rent, trying to stay healthy. You know how it is. Dating felt like a part-time job I never applied for. And my mom? She is the sweetest woman on earth, but also the most direct. Every phone call ended the same way. So, any girl yet? When are you giving me a grandchild? I'm not getting any younger, you know. I love her, but after a while, you just start ignoring those questions. Until one day she didn't ask. She told me. She said, "I found someone for you." I rolled my eyes. Then she said, "Her name is Priya. She lost her husband last year. She's 29, smart, kind, and she needs a good man." I froze. I didn't know what to say. My first thought was, "Mom, are you serious?" The woman is still grieving. Why would she want to meet anyone? My second thought was, why would I want to meet someone who's still in pain? But my mom is not someone you argue with easily. She said, "Just 1 cup of tea. If you don't like her, fine. But don't say no before you try." So I said yes. Not because I believed in love, but because I was tired of saying no to my mom. The day of the meeting, I was nervous. I kept thinking, what do you even say to a woman who lost her husband? "Hey, sorry your person died, want to start a new family?" That felt terrible. I almost canceled 3 times. But I showed up at a small coffee shop. And there she was. Priya was sitting by the window. She wasn't looking at her phone. She was just staring outside. When I walked in, she stood up and gave a small smile. Not a happy smile. More like a "I'm being polite" smile. And right away, I felt the problem. The air was heavy. Not in a bad way, but in a real way. Here were 2 people sitting across from each other with completely different kinds of emptiness. Me? I was empty because I hadn't found the right person yet. I was lonely in a busy world. Priya? She was empty because she had found her person and then lost him. That's a different kind of pain. One is waiting for a train that never comes. The other is watching your train leave the station forever. I didn't know how to act. Should I be funny? Should I be serious? Should I ask about her husband or pretend he never existed? Every question in my head felt wrong. And I could tell she was nervous too. Not because she liked me, but because she was scared of being judged. People look at widows weird, you know? Like they have a disease called sadness. Like you might catch grief if you sit too close. So the first 10 minutes were painful. Small talk, weather, coffee, work, nothing real. I wanted to leave. I thought, this is a mistake. My mom tried to fix something that cannot be fixed. Then something happened. Priya looked at me and said, "You can ask me about him. It's okay." He didn't disappear. He just died. I almost choked on my coffee. But her honesty broke the wall. So I asked, what was his name? She said, "Rohan," and then she smiled. A real smile this time. She told me Rohan loved bad puns. He would wake her up at 6 a.m. just to tell her a joke that didn't make sense. He cooked terrible eggs but acted like he was a chef. He was afraid of spiders but loved horror movies. She laughed and cried in the same sentence. And I realized something important. Grief is not the absence of love. Grief is love with nowhere to go. She didn't need me to fix her. She needed someone to listen without running away. So I listened. For 2 hours. I didn't try to solve anything. I didn't say, "You'll find someone else," or "Time heals everything." Just sat there and let her remember out loud. And when she finished, she looked at me and said, "Thank you." Most people change the topic when I say Rohan's name. That's when the shift happened. I stopped seeing her as a sad widow. I started seeing her as a woman who loved deeply and lost hard. And honestly, that made her more attractive, not less. Because someone who loved that much once is capable of loving again. We started meeting more. Not dating, exactly. Just talking. Walking in the park. Eating cheap noodles. She told me about the hard days. The mornings she woke up and reached for Rohan's side of the bed. The nights she cried so loud her neighbors knocked on the door. The guilt she felt when she laughed for the first time after his death. She thought, how dare I be happy when he's not here? I told her about my own fears. That I was scared of commitment. That I watched my parents fight as a kid and promised myself I'd never end up like them. That I used work as an excuse to stay single because rejection hurts less than failure. We were two broken people. Not in a dramatic movie way. In a real, human, messy way. And slowly, without planning it, we started healing each other. Not because we were trying, but because we were honest. 3 months in, Priya invited me to her house. She showed me Rohan's photo on the wall. Then she took out a box. Inside were his watch, a letter he wrote her on their first anniversary, and 2 movie ticket stubs from their first date. She held the letter and said, Rohan wrote, if something happens to me, don't stop living. Find someone who makes you laugh like I did. She looked at me and said, I think he would have liked you. That moment broke me and fixed me at the same time. Because I realized I wasn't competing with a ghost. I was being invited into a story that already had a first chapter. And I didn't have to erase that chapter. I just had to write the next one with her. A few weeks later, we were sitting on a bench near the river. She put her head on my shoulder. No big speech. No dramatic music. Just 2 people choosing each other not because they were perfect, but because they were willing to try. I looked at her and said, I'm not Rohan, I'll never be him. But I will never try to replace him. I just want to be yours. In whatever way you'll have me, she cried. I cried a little too, not gonna lie. And she said, you already are. So what did I learn from all of this? First, moms are weirdly smart sometimes. My mom didn't set me up with a perfect woman. She set me up with a real one. And real is better than perfect every single time. Second, loss does not make someone unlovable. In fact, people who have lost often love harder because they know how fast it can disappear. They don't take small moments for granted. They fight for happiness because they've seen how quickly it can be taken away. Third, you don't have to be healed to be ready. Priya wasn't fully healed. I wasn't fully healed. We still had bad days, but we showed up anyway. And showing up is 90% of love. If you're single because you're waiting for the perfect person with no baggage, good luck. Everyone has baggage. The question is not who has the least pain. The question is whose pain are you willing to sit with? My mom wanted me to start a family. And she was right. But she didn't give me what I wanted. She gave me what I needed. Someone who already knew how to love deeply. Someone who chose to live again even when living felt heavy. We're not married yet. We're still figuring it out. But for the first time in years, I'm not scared of the future. Because I learned that family isn't about blood or a ring or a perfect story. Family is about 2 people saying, I see your scars, and I'll sit right next to them anyway.